This is the Action Movie Guys podcast, bringing you action movie reviews from across the decades, plus box office numbers and insight like never before. And now, your hosts of the Action Movie Guys podcast, Alex and Nate.
What's up, everyone? Welcome to episode number 278 of the Action Movie Guys podcast. I'm your host, Nate, and this is my co-host,
Alex Figueroa.
And of course, on this episode, we are joined by a very special guest, one of our Patreons. You heard him on the last episode. You loved him. I know you did. We got Pablo back for another movie. Pablo, say hello to everybody.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for having me, guys. Appreciate it.
Yes, always a pleasure to talk movies with you, whether it's here or on YouTube. It's always a good time. So we're going to be moving on now. Of course, with our franchise, we are covering the X-Men films. And with our non-franchise movie this month, we're doing a little sci-fi action. So these are action movies that have some sort of sci-fi premise, whether they're in space or they're with aliens, or in the case of this film, there's clones. So we're going to be doing a little 2005 movie called The Island, directed by Michael Bay, which, by the way, we do have a Michael Bay month coming up later. But Alex, we have not covered a ton of Michael Bay movies on this podcast, even though he only makes action movies, basically.
True. But we did cover the entire Transformer franchise.
Yeah, but that's all we did. We haven't we haven't done Armageddon or The Rock or Pearl Harbor.
The Bad Boys.
This one,
Right?
no Bad Boys movies.
Bad Boys.
Yes. Yeah, so we have a ton coming up. Don't worry. We will, by the end of this, next year, we'll have done a ton of Michael Bay because he is an action director. We got to give him more love. But are we going to give him love today? I have no idea. We're doing The Island. Now, before we start, I like to ask the question of, is this a movie you have seen? And if you have seen it, when was it? Alex, have you ever seen this film?
I never heard of this film. You see, you come up with these damn movies that I never heard of. So I'm searching through the nets for this stuff.
Yeah, he texted me saying, is this the movie that I'm supposed to watch?
Because there was 100 islands coming up, and I found it on Tubi for free. Because I don't think I was going to, I was going to rent it, but.
So you watched the 4-hour cut because of the ads.
Oh, Jesus Christ. I'll talk about that if you, but yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, and you know what? You're welcome. I'm glad I schedule movies. It makes it more fun when you haven't seen every single movie. Pablo, is this a movie you are familiar with? Had you seen it prior?
I saw it when it was a summer movie. I think it came out in July. It was a summer movie. I didn't see it in theaters, but I did see it when it came out on rental.
Okay.
And then
back
I
in
saw it
05
again.
or 06.
Yeah, 05. No, yeah, 05. I definitely saw it when it came out on rental.
July 22nd release date.
Oh, yeah.
July
He's right
22nd.
on.
Yeah.
Summertime.
So it was a summer blockbuster.
Maybe.
I could give you the budget. You want the
Yeah,
budget?
tell us the budget in the box office, then we'll tell you if it's a blockbuster. What do you got?
$128 million budget.
Okay.
And a worldwide total of $162 million. It's a flop of the doo-dah day, doo-dah.
There's a reason why there is no Island 2, and this is in our standalone section of movies.
Yeah,
okay, so it made slightly more, but really with marketing, it probably lost money. It might have done well on video. I don't know, but you know what? To this point, it's an 18-year-old movie. There's no 4K. Usually that's like a sign that something's popular on disc. Yeah. I am like Pablo. I remember when this movie came out. I did not see it. It came out the summer that I graduated high school, and this was not on my radar then, but I also started collecting movies at this time, and I actually bought this on DVD. So this was a DVD movie, and I haven't seen it in at least 10 years. I don't know. It's been a long time since I watched it. And so before we get into it, we got those box office numbers. Not great. Let's go over some Rotten Tomato scores. This has I'll start with the better one. The the audience score is a 63%. So it is over the fresh line of 60%, mostly positive. But the critics didn't like it so much. It's sitting at a 39% critic score, which, let's be honest, for a Bay movie, it's not that surprising, I don't think. What do you guys think?
I'm shocked that it's at 63.
You know what? I agree with Alex. I thought it was going to be lower.
Yeah.
Okay. So the audience score is more surprising to you than the critic score.
Yes. Critic makes sense. 30%.
Yeah.
Very fair. All right. Well, you know what? We take those numbers, we give them to you just so you have an idea, but then we throw them out the window because we're going to give you our take on all these different categories. So we're going to go ahead and start off with the lead character. In this case, it is played by Ewan McGregor, a great actor, and he's playing, what's his name? Lincoln Six Echo, I think is his name, right? Mm-hmm. Lincoln Six Echo, played by Ewan McGregor. Pablo, you're the guest. You get to go first on this category. What did you think?
This is a tough one because I'm a huge Ewan McGregor fan. I love his work. And if I were to judge him as an actor in this movie, with the material and the script that he was given, he did his best. As far as what his character was and portrayed, there wasn't much there for him to do. So I would say a 3. And I'm being,
Soft 3.
yeah, a soft 3.
Yeah.
I'm being generous.
Okay, a soft 3 for our man Lincoln Six Echo. Alex, what do you got?
Don't worry about it. I'll take care of it. I'm not crazy with Hugh McGregor, so I don't follow his work.
Really?
Yeah, I don't watch nuts. This is besides Obi-Wan Kenobi. I don't think there's other movies that I've seen him in. Like I could be like, oh, I see him in this type of films.
The
it's very
Shining,
interesting.
the sequel.
Oh, Dr. Sleep?
I thought he was great in that.
Trainspotting?
Dr. Sleep. Yeah.
I've never seen that.
You don't know that.
So that's what I'm saying. Like I don't see much of those European type films that he's in. Mm-hmm. So like for me, I don't know much of his body of work. But in this movie, I'm not saying he's a good actor. I'm not saying he's a horrible actor. He's a great actor. Great actor. But the character's a 2. It's a decent. I think I agree with Pablo. There's nothing. He's a clone. He wakes up every day. He does the same shit over and over. He gets his Pumas. He gets his white shirt. He wants something. He's something curiosity. So he starts to question shit, and that's where the whole movie starts to unfold because he starts to question and question and question and question. What more can that type of character do until he meets himself down the road, which we're going to talk about on the storyline. But other than that, Scarlett Johansson is also in this movie. Gorgeous. She's another good actress. But again, she would have got a 2 if it was her as the lead. Because again, another character that is stale. It's just a stale character. So I couldn't follow along with the journey. At times I was bored with the character. I was like, oh man, this dude is just plain Bordeaux, So I give him a 2 for decent.
Fair enough. Okay, I do like Ewan McGregor, and I actually think his performance is good in this movie. He does play 2 people, one clone version of himself and the regular version of himself. I actually like the regular version of himself better, where he gets to use his regular accent, and he's kind of a douchebag. I did like that. As Lincoln Six Echo, I mean, there's a certain charm to the character. He's basically a kid. He's like a kid. He's very curious. You have that scene where they're reading those books. They're reading like little kid books. Like Susie wants a cookie. The cookie's on the shelf. Like they're not like, super smart. So he's basically like a little kid. And I do think there's some good humor there with like him talking with Steve Buscemi and trying to figure out what stuff is. Like when they tell him he's taking a dump in the can, he's like, isn't it a can? Like why is he in a can? And I'm not saying this is sharp writing. But what I'm saying is it is endearing a bit to me. Like I think he's fun to watch. I also think when the action kicks in, I thought he was pretty good in all those kind of scenes. So I'm actually going to go with also a soft 3. I have 3 written down, but it's a jiggly wiggly 3. It ain't like a strong sturdy 3. Because the movie storyline, to your point, Alex, it doesn't necessarily lend itself to like an amazing lead character, in my opinion. So, stuff just happening to him. He's not so much like doing stuff himself all the time. So yeah, a soft 3, a 3, a 3, a 2. So we're all in the same ballpark. Okay, main villain now. This is played by Sean Bean, who, if you're familiar with his work, he dies in every movie that he's in, pretty much, or show. He's gonna die. Sean Bean is in this. He's the main villain as the overlord of the clone center that creates clones for people. Alex, what did you think?
That's my man, Sean Bean. I like Sean Bean. I think he's a great actor. He's my man, Alex, in 007 GoldenEye.
Yeah, that's right.
He's 006. Mm-hmm. So I was like, you know what? He's in it. Yeah, he's a great actor. I mean, he was even Stark. He was the father Stark in Game of Thrones. He was the main dude.
Yeah, Ned Stark.
Didn't
make it out of season 1 though. Didn't make it out.
Yeah. He got chopped his head off. That's the best way to go. Look, in terms of this character, I look at it. Oh, geez. I don't know. I mean, I give him a 3, a soft 3.
Okay.
He was a good villain. I mean, but how can you say he's a villain? Because like he's a scientist doing his, like he's getting paid. Like he was more about the money. It's like Jurassic Park, like the new Jurassic Park. They continue creating new dinosaurs to bring in more money. So like that's the same shit they did here. They just started to like use people's DNA and they can live longer because they cloning themselves.
Jurassic people.
Jurassic people. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Like I feel like his character is not as complex as any other. He's a scientist that pretty much is I guess ahead of his own, like he's just his own, like he's playing God because he's like Frankenstein. pretty much. He creates them and then he kills them for profit. I mean, that's the way you look at it. I mean, that's the way I look at it. I mean, I give him a soft 3. I mean, he's not diabolical because it's all about money. It's not like he's screwing anybody else. I mean, he is technically because he's not telling people what they're doing.
Yeah. He's letting all these people die.
But in reality, though, is that really the diabolical? I mean, everybody.
You might have been the villain in this movie.
I would have been.
You'd have been like, I'm cool with him cloning all those people and taking their organs. I'm cool with it.
Oh, you know what? Whatever. I soft 3. I think I'm sounding very evil now. Soft 3. I think I'm sounding very diabolical now. Soft 3.
All right, Pablo.
All right. I'm going to give you the number and then I'm going to explain why. 1.
Oh!
Yes! That's the first one. Let's go.
Nate's,
it's my favorite number.
Okay.
And I'll tell you why.
Tell me why.
Sean being a great actor, love him, right? But his character was, that villain that just came out of the assembly line. It's just the same thing, this, stupid plan. And then I'm watching the movie and I'm like, okay, he's a guy who sits behind the desk, but he's going to have to die because they all do. How are they going to kill him when he's just some guy that sits behind the desk? And I was like, yeah, they're probably going to have some big battle between him and Ewan McGregor on top of something, and he's going to fall and everything's going to fall on top of him. I was like, he's probably going to die like that because he's a villain that's coming out the assembly line. And how does he die? Right?
Yeah.
Pretty much the same. That's how he dies.
Yeah.
And I was falling asleep too.
He dies exactly like he died in GoldenEye when the big satellite landed on him.
Right? That's what I'm saying. Like, like if Hollywood has a villain book, right? A handbook, right?
The Sean Bean
and that's
book.
what the scriptwriter did. So, we need a villain. Let's see, what does the villain do? Okay, all right. How's he gonna die? Okay, perfect. There. And that's how it is. And it was boring and it was terrible and I hated it. Worst villain. Terrible.
To put that on the DVD box, he was
Yeah.
boring and terrible, and I hated it.
Worst villain ever.
Wow. All right, so a 3 from Alex, a 1 from Pablo. You know where your boy Nate landed. Right in between, y'all. I gave him a 2. I gave him a 2. I actually see both of your points, and maybe that's why I fell in the middle. I do think he's generic. I love Sean Bean as well. You won't catch me on the Sean Bean bashing train. It ain't happening. I love him. I think he's great in everything he's in. The only reason I don't give him a 1 is because, he is stock. He's a stock villain. He's standard. He's diabolical. He's all about the money, like Alex said. He just wants money. He's worried about that. He doesn't care that these are people. But I mean, even though they are created in a bag, they're human, right? They have human tissue. There's a reason why they have to implant them with memories because they are human beings. They can't just be like organs. But there's a certain charisma to him that I kind of like in this movie. Like when he's talking, like I love the part. It's minor, but I love the part where he's like, all right, we got to do a little diagnostic check on your body, and he's like, it's not gonna hurt, and he puts him in the chair, and he's like, this hurts, and he's like, no, it doesn't. It doesn't hurt. And the things are crawling in his eyeball. He's like, yeah, it hurts. He's like, no, I don't think it hurts. And that whole, that sort of, to me, it's kind of funny. And he doesn't even look at them as people and stuff. So I thought that was entertaining to watch. Yeah, he's not the villain that is like trying to take over the world. He's really not. He's just trying to make money. But the scheme is it's pretty clever. I'll save something for storyline that I have a problem with this movie, but it's pretty clever on its surface. So I gave him a 2. So a 3, a 2, and a 1. All right, now action scenes. Pablo.
Oh, I'm going to say a 2 because the set piece in Act 2, I thought actually was pretty good. The one in the highway when they're being chased on the highway.
Yeah.
And then, I thought that was a very good, and they're dropping the truck is dropping those barrel looking things. I forgot what those things are called.
Oh yeah, those big tubes.
Yeah. And they're falling. Yeah. And all that looks great. And, and I was watching some behind the scenes stuff. I don't know why. Maybe I was preparing for the podcast and I wanted to throw in some little tidbit, but I was watching some behind the scenes stuff. And a stuntman got hurt in that sequence. And Michael Bay almost got hurt because he was doing a shot like underneath the car. Yeah. As the car was coming. And they didn't pull him out on time, and the camera like smashed. I was like, oh, that's pretty cool.
He's in there guerrilla style, shooting it himself.
Jeez. Yeah, so actually, so I give him credit for that. But yeah, that sequence was good. But There's really the Act 3 sequence was I just hated it. It was like generic, boring. It didn't lead up to anything. I hated it. So that's why I give this a 2.
A 2. All right, Alex, what you got?
I give it a 3. That was good. To Michael Bay, typical. I mean, if you put all his movies together, they're all the same shit. From Bad Boys to Transformers, all of them lead in the highway. They all do the same thing. And I think they stole one of the scenes from here from Transformers.
Vice versa.
They used some shots from this movie in Transformers.
In Transformers 3.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So then I was like, wait a minute. I was like, I've seen this one before. So, like, for me, is Michael Bay a visionary of action? No, he's not. But he's really good at his craft. He knows how to copy and paste and keep you in high octane chase scenes. Because even them running and they falling off the building and all that, I thought that was pretty cool. I was like, all right, it is what it is. The car chase in the highway was pretty good. Like, he does do good highway scenes. It's just that he's not creative to make better drive scenes. Like, there's multiple ways to make a good car chase scene, but like he does the same thing always. There's some debris landing in cars coming here and there. So like for me, I was just like, all right, I couldn't give it a 4 at all. The fight at the end between a clone that never fought before makes no sense to me. The clone never fought. So how the hell is he fighting this dude? So to me, that it took me out of it. And then he shot him with a harpoon gun. Like a mini harpoon gun. And I'm like, this is so dumb. Like, you could have shot him with a taser. You could have ended this movie like 2 minutes ago if you shot him with a taser, and then you could have just shot him. But he shot him with a harpoon gun, and he's pulling on him. And I'm just like, I was like, where is this thing connected to? Like his ribs or something? Because, I mean, he would have pulled out already by the yank that he did. So, like, for me, I don't know. I just felt like, I agree, the third sequence kind of sucked ass. Like, all he did was shut off a fan, and the fan just started to blow up the whole entire facility. I was just like, what the hell? Like, it was run by that? This entire facility where you have people in bubbles were run by a fan that was from air. So, I don't know. That, to me, was kind of far-fetched. But, yeah, I give it a 3.
Okay. I'll come to Michael Bay's defense a little bit here. Personally, I think I think he can shoot the crap out of an action scene, honestly. The fact that, Pablo, you made a great point. Like, I know I don't know the behind the scenes, so I didn't know he got, injured or almost got injured. But there is a shot where this thing is shot. It looks like someone's laying on the floor on wheels, and it's like so low. And to get a shot that low, you really got to like get down there. There's no really other way to do it. And I think that's a great shot. I do disagree a little bit, Alex, in the sense of like he has a style. So I agree with you there, like, where they're similar, but I think his style is pretty creative in a lot of ways. And I think a lot of other directors sort of took from him. You're looking at like long-term, even like lens flares and stuff like that, right? Like everyone's like, oh, J.J. Abrams. Like Michael Bay did all the lens flare stuff first because he came from commercials. So he came from a medium that is like, you just got to make something look flashy and cool. It's not a story. I'm selling, bras or whatever. I think he did like Victoria's Secret commercials and maybe some music videos. Usually people who come from that have a visual style. I don't think he's a great storyteller. I don't think he's a great. So I'm not like saying Michael Bay's great. What I'm saying is I think he could shoot an action scene. That being said, this got to be one of the least amount of actions of any of his action movies that he's made. You guys are right. The whole first hour, there's like no action, like at all. There's like talking, and I think they run at one point a little bit. And, Ewan McGregor,
Buscemi, right?
Yeah, he hits the guy in the face with a wrench. Like there's like very minimal action. The chase scene in the highway, that's a pretty long sequence. It's like 15 minutes long or so. And in movie time, that's like a long action scene. I actually love it. I think it's great. Yeah, they did borrow the scene in Transformers 3, but you can't mark that off this movie. That's marked off Transformers 3 for copying, using what they did was the scene where the big barrel hits the front of the car and it smashes. In Transformers 3, they replaced that barrel with a transformer. That's pretty much what the shot was. But this did it first, and I thought it was cool. It's mayhem. Like, he's literally crashing cars. You could tell it's not all CGI, cars flying everywhere. It's cars crashing, and I just love realness in action. I love stunt work. And also those flying, like, motorcycle things, they look real. Like, when they're low, when they're doing, like, on the ground, they probably built it and drove it on a machine or something like that is what I'm guessing. Once they go in the sky, then you could tell
it
it's like...
loses the effect, yeah.
Yeah, then it's green screen, and then it's not as cool. But when them things are flying low, I think they look awesome. So, all that said, I still gave it a 3. Alex, I agree with you. I gave it a 3. I don't think it's like...
all that shit for a 3.
Well, yeah, because I don't think it's like as bad, but there's not enough. Like there's one big action scene in the middle and then there's not. And then you have the finale, which I agree with both of you. I thought it was pretty weak. So that's why it's just a 3. But that one in the middle, it is worth watching. Like if you're going to watch this movie, just fast forward to then and then watch it and then turn it off. And you'll have had a pretty decent time. And Scarlett Johansson, she's pretty hot. So she's in there as well. So that's all you got. I got a 3. You got a 3. Pablo got a 2. All right. So now we're going to the storyline. Alex, what do you think about the storyline of this movie?
I give it a 1.
Dang. All right. Tell us.
I don't like it. I'm gonna be honest. I was bored. Like right when they got to Steve Buscemi, I was starting to check out. I was like, when is this damn thing over? But then my problem is that I saw it on Tubi, so all the commercials was just killing the movie. So I was just like, oh boy. So it's like that extended it. But honestly, I couldn't get behind Ewan McGregor's character, Scarlett Johansson's character. It was a pretty awesome storyline. I mean, in terms of the cloning and he was using it to harvest and keep people alive for longer. I thought that was a cool storyline, but for me, I was bored. I'm gonna be honest. By the third act, I didn't even care if the movie was done or not. I was just like, oh man. But I don't know. It's just brutal. It was a brutal storyline. I don't know. I can't see how 63% of the audience really liked this movie. I can't see it why. Because like even when Ewan McGregor fights Ewan McGregor and they both sound the same, that sequence for me, I wasn't too nuts about it. Like that whole, them meeting each other. Because I'd rather see Scarlett Johansson meet Scarlett Johansson in the hospital. That would have been way better.
You just wanted more Scarlett Johansson. And
maybe.
Instead of more Ewan McGregor.
Yeah, could be. That thing could have been that. So yeah, I give it a 1. Not much Scarlett Johansson.
That's fair. Pablo, what you got?
Do we do zeros in this podcast? Or?
No, one is the
we
minimum.
One is okay.
Well, one is bottom of the barrel, though.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the concept, it's really good. I thought the concept was good. And I think in the hands of a better script writer or even a better director, I think this movie could have been much, much better, because I thought the concept of cloning and it was really good. It was a good sci-fi, story, I thought. It just didn't work. It didn't work here. It was just the storyline was, or the plot was just so bland and just so it just did not work. And like Alex said, I was bored. And not because there was no action. That's okay. If the story is good and the pacing is good and it's engaging. I mean, look at, I'll just really quickly say Oppenheimer. Pure dialogue, 3 hours. And that movie's amazing.
Yeah.
I sat there and I was engaged. I was, invested. And it was just dialogue, really, for the most part. So it's that I don't have a problem with that. But it has to be good dialogue. It has to be engaging. It has to be the script writing. It has to be good. And this one, terrible. Really, really terrible. Can I talk about Michael Bay for a second?
Yeah, of course.
Okay. Sorry, guys. He's one of my worst directors. I cannot stand his style. Now, a lot of people like him, and that's fine. It just doesn't work for me. His style of directing just doesn't work for me. And maybe aside from the first Bad Boys or even The Rock, I have to go back and see that one. It's been a long time. Yeah, there's not one Michael Bay. The Transformers series franchise, oh, forget it. I just can't sit through them. And I mean, his style, the escape scene when they're being chased inside the complex and they're escaping, and he's doing the shaky camera thing. He took a swing and it just didn't work. I was getting nauseous. I didn't know what was going on. And that's the worst. When you're an action director and you don't know what's going on in the movie because of all the cuts and all this stuff, didn't work for me. So I'm giving the plot a 1.
A 0 in your heart and a 1 because you have to. This is a forced 1. All right. That's relatable. I had to do that when we watched Assassins. I had to give everything 1s, but I was on the 0 train most of the time. All right. Storyline. Okay. I agree with some of the stuff both of you said. I agree with most of what you both said. Actually, I agree with most.
He's defending this.
No. Well, I gave it a 2. I didn't. I gave it a 2. I gave it a 2. That's not. If that's a defense, then it's a very soft defense. Why I did is because I just took it as the storyline, like the premise of the movie always, and I think there's some good ideas in there. Like I don't think it's a total waste of time. It is derivative though of a few other movies. Have you ever seen like Logan's Run It's kind of similar. Like it has a lot of similarities. Or even what's that George Lucas movie? The THX, whatever, where they fall in, they're not supposed to fall in love and they do, like, it has that element with him and Scarlett Johansson. So it definitely, whoever wrote, I know Michael Bay doesn't write these movies, but whoever wrote it definitely watched a lot of other movies. That being said, I like the premise of this movie. I think the premise is good. You have clones that are made strictly for rich people to use as spare parts, essentially. And when I break down, I will take those parts from that person. And I think that's a good idea. I also, and then once they escape, I love a good chase. It's a chase movie at that point. Once they escape, It's a chase movie. So as the storyline, I think it's decent. So I gave it a 2. But I do agree, where I agree with you guys is a lot of the execution, which usually I put in like overall because that's all the direction and all that stuff. So yeah, just a base premise, a 2. But no, I'm not really going to argue with you guys with your 1s. All right. So overall, Pablo.
1.
I saw that coming.
Yeah, I didn't think any higher. That was.
If you give it something higher, we got to edit it out. There's no way.
Yeah, and I think I covered pretty much everything about overall. I just don't like this movie, and I just don't like Michael Bay.
There you go. Enough said. Alex, what do you got?
Let me tell you something, guys. I just looked up who made this movie or who wrote it. It now makes sense.
Who we got?
Alex Kurtzman.
Oh, your boy, Star Trek.
Yeah, he could write Star Trek, but my man cannot write out of Star Trek. He could write the shit out of Star Trek. I'll tell anybody that.
He directed The Mummy, the Tom Cruise one.
And now this makes sense. In terms of the action sequences, it feels like The Mummy. Like, you're going, holy crap. But he directed that one.
He wrote it?
Yeah, Alex Kurtzman screenplay and Roberto Orci.
Yeah, it's his partner. They're J.J. Abrams guys. They've done a lot of stuff with J.J. Abrams.
They're all kind of figures.
That makes sense.
Yeah, because J.J. Abrams.
And J.J. Abrams, the lens flare.
Well, he could direct action.
I
can't say he don't. J.J. could direct action because he did Mission Impossible 3, and that's a really good one.
But it does make sense. You're right. Those guys are either pretty good or hacks. Those are their only 2 levels.
Yeah, but Alex Kurtzman is known for Star Trek, so he should stick to that. Right? Yeah. He should stick to that world and don't leave it. I don't care. But anyway, in terms of this movie, I give it a 1. I agree with Pablo on that. And I agree in a lot of sense. This movie should have never been an action movie. This movie should have been more of a drama sci-fi movie. And I think it would have been way better if it handled the drama and the sci-fi movie. And it had like not maybe way little bit minimum of action, but not to like the point of this, like full blown running through the streets of wherever the hell they were, car chases. I think this could have been handled very well as a drama, film, suspense, thriller, sci-fi movie.
In the hands of like someone like Ridley Scott, let's say, right?
Maybe, yeah.
Sci-fi drama, like Blade Runner and stuff. Yeah. This movie could have worked. It could have definitely worked.
Ridley Scott, I could see that. Ridley Scott, in the hands of Ridley Scott, I could see that. He's very known for that stuff. Yeah. And then written by, I don't know who.
Ridley Scott. No, he doesn't write.
Ridley Scott.
Whoever writes his stuff.
Whoever writes his shit, it's just Ridley Scott. Yeah, so I give it a 1.
Rough trip around the island here. All right, before I go, I got to read some Alex Kurtzman credits because he did write a show. So he started off writing TV, and he wrote the classic 90s television shows, Hercules with Kevin Sorbo and Xena Warrior Princess. So that's where he started.
Those are big hits.
Big hits. One of my favorite shows, Alias. He was a writer on Alias. So that's a JJ. But this was his first film that he ever wrote. His first.
Very different.
So he wrote this, and then he wrote The Legend of Zorro, which is that the sequel, right?
It's a sequel.
Okay, well that
wasn't that bad. I gotta watch it again, but I don't remember it as being really bad.
He wrote Mission Impossible 3. He wrote Transformers, the first one. He wrote Star Trek, which the J.J. Abrams one. But then here's where it starts going down because he wrote the worst Transformers movie by far, Transformers 2, Revenge of the Fallen, the biggest piece of crap. And they're not, and that's saying something. And then, he did Fringe, Star Trek Into Darkness, and then he started The Mummy, and then he started doing all these Star Trek shows. So that's his credits. He's in that sci-fi world, I guess. Like, that's kind of where he hangs his hat.
Can you see, did he do Star Trek Strange New Worlds?
He did Star Trek Strange New World. It was created by him, and he is a story writer, yes. And Star Trek Discovery and Picard.
Oh.
Which Picard?
The new, created by, he's the story, it says story by and creator, and then it says 30 episodes. So I'm guessing he was like a team.
So he wrote
he
wrote
wrote a lot.
No,
so he did
I think
season 1, 2, and 3.
They changed the showrunner for season 3 in Picard.
Yeah, they might have changed the showrunner,
Yeah.
but he was part of the group, I guess. I don't know.
So he
whatever,
could have
but
been season 1 and 2 and left.
He could have been the
after
worst
that.
season and then left.
Yeah. So it
then
could
it
have been
got
1
better.
and 2 left, and then it
He
got
does
a
your
new
show, Strange
season
New
one.
Worlds, I guess.
Yeah.
So
Well, that's a good.
all that to
As long
say,
as he
I
does
don't.
it right.
I haven't even watched some of. I didn't watch Fringe or any of the whatever.
Oh,
the
Fringe
Fringe
was
was
good.
good. Yeah, Fringe
Yeah.
was good.
4
Okay.
and 5, season 4 and 5 got really, but 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3
Pretty good. Okay.
was really good.
All
Yeah.
that being said, I gave this movie a 2. I don't think it's good.
God, you with the 2s?
I mean, that's a bad
Really?
score. That's a bad score. I just didn't hate it as much as you guys.
How's it bad? Oh,
A
1
2?
is bad.
How's a 2 bad? Well, you watch a movie and you tell someone this movie's a 2. That's a good score?
Well, if everyone else gave it a 1,
put it
in
hey,
the
Alex,
group-
if I came up to you and said, hey,
Yeah.
you should check out this movie. It's a 2. Are you going to really want to go out and watch it? I'm not recommending this movie. I just didn't dislike it as much as you guys. That's all I'm saying.
okay.
I thought the action scenes were better than you guys did. I thought the storyline was a little better than you guys did. I didn't argue with your points. I understand them. I just didn't hate it as much, but it doesn't mean I want to watch it again. I didn't like it. I'm not saying I want to buy the 4K that doesn't exist of this. I'm good. I saw it again for the first time in 10 years, and I'm good. I need to never see it again.
You
But
can watch it for free on Pluto.
or Tubi.
Well, yeah, if you want to watch this movie for free, do that. If anything we said piqued your interest, check it out. Well, I always say, actually, you should watch it for yourself no matter what.
Any movie.
You might love
Any
it,
movie,
but
yeah.
I am on your guys' team as far as I didn't like it. I'm in the 39% with the critics. I just think this, I don't hate Michael Bay as much as Pablo, for example, but this is so far out of his wheelhouse that it's like not even funny. As far as I totally agree, another director with this same concept does it better. Absolutely. Do they do that big chasing as good as him? Maybe not, but everything else would be better. The character stuff would be better. I think it would be a little more ominous. It's too lighthearted for the subject matter, if that makes sense. Like, it's too bright. It looks too nice. And I could understand like maybe the facility looking nice, but then there being some really dark stuff besides that, but there's not. It's all very bright. It's all shot and glossy and nice. And this subject matter is really dark. Harvesting human organs from clones is not like a lighthearted fun movie. So I just think it was not a good mix of director and script. So I agree with you guys there. Also, aged poorly, the scene where they are playing the video game and it just says Xbox and they're playing like a virtual game.
Oh my
And it's
God!
the Xbox
original
One
Xbox.
logo?
Oh Jesus! Yeah.
I'm sorry,
I
not
was
the
like,
Xbox
what?
One, the original Xbox, I should say.
was
And
more
when they go to the
marketing.
phone booth and it's MSN search. You guys remember MSN? Not even
MSN,
around
yeah.
anymore. And this is supposed to be in the future. And they got MSN search. So some
They
really
have a
bad.
phone booth.
Yeah,
It's in the future. and they have
in a
phone
futuristic
booth.
phone booth, which those definitely don't exist. And if they did, they wouldn't be sponsored by MSN. So some very poor product placement. A Michael Bay staple. He always has product placement. So I agree with you guys there. So a 2 for me, a 1 and a 1. What is your total score, Alex?
10. It's a 10 out of a 25.
10 out of a 25. Pablo, what do you got?
Yeah.
I think mine is a 7.
Pablo's is a 5.
That's pretty bad.
An 8.
An 8.
8.
Okay.
Because yours was a
really-
3. Was it yours? Was a 3 on the lead, right?
Yeah,
So
3 on
3.
Ewan McGregor.
1 for the villain,
Yep. Action
A 2
3.
for action.
Oh, 2.
That's it. Okay, yeah.
and then a 1 and 1. So
Yeah, 8.
an 8.
An 8, a 10. I'm at a 12. But either way, I mean, hey, we're not
the
that far
audience.
off. 12 and 10, but it's not a recommendation. None of us are saying definitely see the island, but maybe see it if you feel like it. I don't
You know what? Rob said something pretty interesting because I was thinking
Yeah.
the same thing. Tony Scott should have directed his movie.
If Tony Scott directed this, I mean, he didn't. Well, he did a sci-fi with Deja Vu. He could do it. I think he could direct anything. I would like
I mean,
to
he
see
could have
Tony
talked to
Scott
his
direct
brother.
anything.
Hey, how you do that sci-fi shit?
I mean, y'all remember? You guys remember a movie we did on the show, on the live show, Crimson? What was it? Crimson Tide, which is all talking and yet it's like action. So he could direct anything, in my opinion.
I never saw that movie and I brought it, and I was
Yeah.
like, this movie's like freaking amazing.
Yeah, so Tony
Crimson
Scott would have been
Tide.
good. Ridley
Yeah.
Scott would have been good. Any sort of sci-fi adjacent director would have done better. Period. In my
I'm trying to think who other director that.
I mean, there's modern people I could think of, but if I'm
Nolan.
thinking 2000s, it's different.
Chris Nolan.
Oh, Nolan would, yeah, he would
can't
do
see
something
him
really
doing this
crazy
type
with
of
it,
movie.
though. It would be like
I mean, Interstellar,
Yeah.
Tenet. I mean, it
Inception.
this-
They're all sci-fi.
Yeah, and it has that kind of like this original concept, So I think he could have done a great job with this.
I mean, he was making movies in 2005. That's when Batman Begins came out, so he could have done it.
Yeah. Wasn't it the Prestige, the magician one?
Prestige, yeah, he did that one.
Yeah, that was good. I really
was-
enjoyed that one.
There's a lot of options. that are not this guy. So anyway, with that being said, that is The Island. We are moving on to next week's episodes. We're going to be covering X-Men 3, The Last Stand, or is it? I don't know. Me and Alex are going to be covering that. And then moving on, this is funny. You're going to love this. Because I know it's a movie you've never seen, but I got a tidbit for you. We're going to be moving on to another sci-fi action movie, a movie called Cowboys and Aliens. I know you've never seen this movie.
I've never seen it, so yeah.
Harrison Ford, Daniel Craig, two of your boys, Bond, Indiana Jones, directed by Jon Favreau. Guess who wrote it? Alex Kurtzman. So we're getting back-to-back Alex Kurtzmans. Let's see if he does better. We like Mission Impossible 3. We like Star Trek. Let's see if he does better. Maybe it's one of his good ones. It feels like he alternates between bad and good. So let's
Can I
see.
get my score now on that movie since I won't be there?
No. We don't want to paint a picture for Alex. He's never seen it. Got to go in totally blind. Totally blind.
Wait, I'm thinking about it now. So he did Mission Impossible, he did Star Trek.
Yeah.
My thing is that J.J. Abrams must have been like on top of him when he was writing these movies.
He also wrote the story for The Amazing Spider-Man 2. The Andrew Garfield, the second one.
Makes sense.
The one with Electro?
Yes.
Spider-Man likes me.
Correct, but he did not
Spider-Man
write
Max.
Amazing Spider-Man 1.
So
he
the
wasn't
guy
there
who
for that
wrote
one.
Hercules and Xena wrote Electro's character?
Yes.
Makes sense.
Well, I mean, we
Yes.
can't diss him like that because
And
Sam
Rhino.
Raimi. Well, Sam Raimi
Rhino.
created Xena. He wrote He did Spider-Man 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, but
with
there's a certain
Black-ass
amount of
Venom.
hamminess to some of those shows. It makes a lot of sense when you think of some of those that scientist character in The Amazing Spider-Man 2, where it's all crazy and stuff. Anyway, we're gonna be doing back-to-back Kurtzmans. This is actually it'll be our third though, because we did The Mummy already. So we covered that one. Cowboys and Aliens, X-Men 3. That's what we got coming up next week.
Cowboys and Aliens. Where's that at? Where can I get that?
It's
Is
on
that
my
4K?
shelf. I
on
have it on
Tubi.
Blu-ray. I don't know. It might be on. Maybe it's on Tubi.
It's not on 4K? I thought it would be on
No, it's not
4K.
on 4. It's got announced. Kino is doing a 4K for it, but it's not yet.
Okay, that's fine. All right.
Cowboys and
There you
Aliens
go.
can be watched on Peacock.
Oh, there you
It's
go.
a
on
Universal
Peacock.
movie, so it's on Peacock.
There you go. There you have it. You see with Continental.
Check it out on the cock. That's the short version for the Peacock.
All right, so we're going to start promoting everything. Pablo, please promote your stuff before we go into the end.
Well, if you want to follow me, you can follow me on my YouTube channel, which is YouTube/Pablo Lafrosia, LAFROSSIA. I do tutorial videos there on audio mixing and audio recording. So if you're into that stuff, if you're into recording, mixing music, come over there, like and subscribe, and check it out.
There you have it. Other than that, if you guys want to follow us on our social media accounts, please follow Nate over on Instagram at Netflix Reviews. Check out the podcast with him and his friends called Netflix Movie Reviews. Anything action movie, guys, head over to our official Instagram account at Geeks and Flicks or to our website at www.geeksandflicks.com. Other than that, he is your host,
Nate from Netflix Reviews.
I'm his co-host, Alex Figueroa. Thank you so much, Pablo, for joining us.
Yes, thank you.
Hopefully
Thank you for
can
having
come-
me. This was a lot of fun.
Hopefully you can come on another time. He could pick another set of movies.
Yes.
Yeah, cool.
That's not Michael Bay.
Yes. We'll make sure it's a non-Michael Bay week.
Yes, there you have it.
'Cause he hates
Other
him.
than that, we're gonna have more guests down the line, coming down the line. Not the next two podcasts, but we have another one set up. So other than that, listen to each other and geek out.